Right, so let's have a look at what we're going to use to zero a thermal scope. So you want a nice clean board. Now the board's going to retain some heat, so you're going to see the bullet trace as it goes through. And the faster and the bigger the caliber, the longer you'll see that heat trace. Also depends on the wood. So if it's damp or cold wood, you're not going to see it for that long. If it's nice and dry, it will actually retain for quite a while. And different materials do different things. Now, we can't really see the paper with the thermal, so what we do is we aim at a corner of a piece of metallic tape, tin foil, something metal, and what that does is reflects the sky, and it gives us a nice aiming point for us to see with the thermal, as we'll see in a few minutes. So here we have our range with the target with the metallic tape set down the end there. Now this isn't quite ideal to show you, but as you can see, there's the square piece of metal, clearly visible. And now we're on white hot, so it's showing black hot. If you're wondering what that is, that's a long shot target camera, so we can actually see the target. I'll show you that in a second, just to make it easy on us. And when we shoot, we'll actually see the bullet holes go through. So I'll just take the camera off and we'll get started. Okay, so we just took our first shot. You can actually see it just here. Now we're aiming at the top left-hand corner of that square. Always aim at the corners, don't try and aim across the middle. The corners are far more precise. Now if I take a shot, now I'm going to try and film the shot through the camera, which is not steadily attached, but you'll see what happens with the hot bullet trace. This is not for preciseness, that's for certain, but and there you go, there's the little bullet hole. And you can actually see it just here. Sorry about the glare. Now if you go back on the target. Okay, so to move that reticle, we're going to come into the menu, come down to reticle adjustment. We're going to do it on profile A, so that's highlighted in blue. We'll come across to X. Then what we'll do, which is not the easiest to do, but you will get the concept. This is the equivalent of needing 5 hands. But essentially, we will put the rifle back where we were aiming. We will then press the plus or the minus key. Now that screen is actually frozen. I'm actually wobbling the rifle. And you will literally plus and minus to that bullet hole. Now I can't see it anymore, so I'll simulate it just with the time it's taken to attach the camera. But you actually have quite a bit of time, especially with high velocity bullets. But we know it was about here. You can see it on the vertical scale. Press OK to come down and then press the minus button to move it. So it is approximately there. Now I'll press OK to come across. This is where you can change your reticle style, your colours, and as it says on this button, long press to save. And as you can see, it's now moving again. Now we will take a shot. Again, this will not be precise, but you will see I can aim steady enough. And as you can see, there's the hot trace, and it's a lot closer to my target. That's mostly because I was wobbling. And we can see our hole is there. That's our new one. Here's our original two. Now always remember, go from your aiming point to the bullet hole. It's really simple, but just always aiming point to your bullet hole. Conventional day scopes, you dial the other way, but with any digital thermal, you're moving the crosshair from where you are aiming to your bullet hole. Now I'll go and do a final adjustment, and we're all good to go. So there we are, all zeroed. A nice tight group. Now the actual range that you can see the bullet holes depends on your caliber, but generally 50 to 100 meters you'll be able to see the traces. And if you can't see the distance because you want to zero a little bit further, you can always note the position and then adjust accordingly, or work out what your bullet height is at a shorter distance, say 50 meters, and if your 200 meter zero requires you to be 1 inch high at 50 meters, then simply move the reticle down 1 inch. So that's away from the bullet holes. So in this case it's about the bottom of that metal. So my bullets will actually strike a little bit higher, and that will give you your near zero equivalent to your long range zero. So let's just shoot a group. There you go. Minor little adjustment left to do, otherwise pretty good. This isn't the ammunition I use in this rifle. I've just done this for this test just because there's a bit of a ammo shortage at the moment. So I'm protecting my match grade ammo that I use on this rifle. Now we'll actually cover the ballistics in another video a little bit further on. All the ballistics in the 008 and the DS and the thermal SA series, they work exactly the same. So we'll use my DS, which I do use the match grade ammo for, to show you how that actually works. And your parameters. Now you've got to make sure that your profile letter matches what you're actually zeroed to. There's no point in entering all the data in B and you're actually zeroed on A. So do make sure, garbage in, garbage out. Now you'll note that this is meters per second, grams, Celsius and millimeters. This is actually controlled by the range unit selection. So if you want metric, it's meters. If you want imperial, you need to put it on yards. Now once you've actually got your settings done, it really doesn't matter if it's meters or yards. It's just easier for me to do it in feet per second, so I select yards, and it makes no difference to my ranging. So scroll through, just use your rotating wheel. You can see I'm changing the profile. Click once to change down. Now this one, go up to 1072. That's what it is in my rifle. Please don't take it off the box. You need to verify all this data. It's a 40 grain. So you just dial up and down. If you dial fast, it will skip. So BC is G1 BC. Now for 22s, 0.172 seems to work. This can actually be measured. You can find the data on manufacturers' websites, some websites, especially match grade ammo, or you can measure it with some chronographs. Your average altitude, feet, just do 1,000-ish. All affects your calculations. Average temperature, measure your scope height. This is 216. And your rage. And that's now done. You can change your aiming point and your colour. By default it's on a cross. I quite like the cross. That's completely up to you. And to save that, it's a long press of the turret. Take it back to your menu, you can go back and verify, and there it is. If you want to get out, just press the Wi-Fi button.